Hi everybody, it's Miss Amy and I am here to bring you chapter 4 of Lynn Reed Banks's Return of the Indian. And the title of this chapter is The Sweet Taste of Triumph. Now remember, boys and girls, Miss Amy does not own the rights to this book. She just owns the book and she's glad she gets to share it with you. So when we left last time, Omri was in his room looking for his book that he had written in a chest that he had bought himself. And he started rummaging through things and started having some memories about Little Bear and Boone and Bright Stars. And he kind of was just going down memory lane. So there wasn't much there, but there was a lot of details. And of course, it kind of caught us up and did like a summary of the Indian in the cupboard. So today we're going to go ahead and crack this fun, and we're going to see what happens next. Now, I think I already said it, but just in case, I do not own the rights to this book. I just own this book, and I'm glad I get to share it with you. Okay. When Omri came back downstairs with the copy of his story, his brothers were both back from school. Noticing that their parents were fairly gibbering with excitement, they were both pestering loudly to be told what had happened. But being decent, Omri's mother and father were refusing to spoil his surprise. However, the moment he entered the room, his father turned and pointed to him. "It's Omri's news," he said. "Ask him to tell you." "Well," said Gideon. "Go on," said Adiel. "Don't drive us mad." "It's just that I've won a prize," said Omri with the utmost carelessness. "Here, Mom." He handed her the folder, and she rushed out of the room with it clutched to her bosom, saying that she couldn't wait another minute to read it. "Prize for what?" asked Adiel cynically. "For winning a donkey race?" inquired Gillian. "Nothing much. It was only a story," said Omri. It was such a long time since he had felt this good, he needed to spin it out. "What story?" asked Adiel. "What's the prize?" asked Gillian at the same time. "You know, the telecom competition. There was an ad on TV. You had to write in for a leaflet from the post office." "Oh, that," said Adiel, and went into the kitchen to get himself something to eat. But Gillian was gazing at him. He paid more attention to ads, and he had remembered a detail that Adiel had forgotten. "The prizes were money," he said slowly. "Big money." Omri grunted non-committally, sat down at the table, and shifted Kitsa, who was still there on his lap. "How much?" pressed Gillian. "How much? Did you win?" "You didn't get first prize." "Yeah?" Gillian got up. "Not. You haven't won 300 quid. Adiel's face appeared around the kitchen door, wearing a look of comical amazement. "What? What did you say?" "That was the first prize in the category. I thought about entering it myself." Excitement and envy were in Gillian's voice now, making it wobble up and down the register. He turned back to Omri. "Come on, tell us." "Yeah," said Omri again. He felt their eyes on them and a great, gleeful laugh rising in him, like the time Boone had done a tiny, brilliant drawing during Omri's art lesson, and the teacher had seen it and couldn't believe her eyes. She thought Omri had done it somehow. This time was even more fun, though, because this time he had. He was sitting watching television some time later when Adil came in quietly and sat down beside him. "I've read it," he said after a while. His tone had changed completely. "What? Oh, my Indian story?" "Yes, your Indian story." There was a pause, and then Adil, his examined passing brother, said very sincerely, almost humbly, "It was one of the best stories I've ever read." Omri turned to look at him. "Do you really like it?" he said eagerly. Whatever rows he might have with his brothers, and he had them daily, their good opinion mattered. Adil's especially. Remember, the row was a fight or an argument. We looked at that in the first book. So when it says whatever rows he had, so whatever arguments he had had with his brothers, he knew that they were there, but he did care about their opinions. You know perfectly well it's brilliant. How on earth did you dream all that up? Coming from another time and all that. It's so well worked out. So, I don't know. You actually had me believing in it. And working in all those real parts about the family. Blimey! I mean, it was terrific. I now don't take this the wrong way, but I can't quite credit that you made it all up. After a pause, Omri asked, "What do you mean? That you think I nicked it from a book?" Because I didn't. Nicked it from a book would probably mean stealing. "It's entirely original?" Omri glanced at him. "Original?" "Yes, that's what it is. It's original." "Well, congratulations anyway. I think it's fabulous." They stared at the screen for a while, and then he added, "You'd better go and talk to Mom. She's sobbing her eyes out." Omri reluctantly went in search of his mother and found her in the conservatory. Oh, it sounds like we're playing a game of Clue. Found her in the conservatory at the back of the house, watering her plants. Not with tears, to his great relief. She was not crying now, but she gave him a rather misty smile and said, "I read the story, Omri. It's utterly amazing. No wonder it won. You're the darkest little horse I ever knew, and I love you." She hugged him. He submitted briefly, then politely extricated himself. I found myself getting a little misty there because I know how special it is when we moms are proud of our children, and Omri's mom was very proud of her son in this part. "What's for supper? Or excuse me, when's supper?" "Usual time." He was just running to go when he stopped, he was just turning to go when he stopped and looked at her again. Something was missing from her general appearance. Then he saw what it was, and his heart missed a beat. "Mum, where's the key?" Her hand went to her neck. "Oh, I took it off this morning when I washed my hair. It's in the upstairs bathroom." Omri didn't mean to run, but he couldn't help it. He had to see the key to be sure it wasn't lost. Miss Amy got a little bit misty-eyed in that part. Like I said, I just know as a mom how happy I get when my children are successful. We moms, or mums, are very proud of our children. The key was there. He saw it as soon as he went in, lying on the ledge beside the basin with its silver chain coiled around it. He picked it up. It was the first time he'd held it for a year. It felt colder and lighter than he remembered, probably because it was sitting in the bathroom. Its twisted top and complicated lock part clicked into place in the memory pattern, and something else clicked at the same time. Something that had been hovering in his mind, undefined, since he'd read the letter. His story was original. Adiel had relieved his mind when he'd used that word. Even if you didn't make a story up, if you had the experience and you wrote about it, it was original. So he hadn't cheated, but the story wasn't only his. It also belonged to the little men, to Little Bear and Boone, and even to Tommy, the World War I soldier. It belonged to Patrick, too. But if Patrick had decided to deny it ever happened, then he'd given up the rights in it. And suddenly, Omri realized as he looked at the key that his triumph wouldn't really be complete until he shared it. What do you think he's going to do? What is your prediction, boys and girls? Can you infer what's going to happen next? Not just with his parents and brothers or with the kids at school. No prize, no party could be as good as what he was thinking about now. This was his reason. His excuse to do what he'd been yearning to do ever since that moment when the cupboard door closed and transformed his friends back into plastic. Only with Little Bear and Boone could he share the secret behind his story. The most exciting part of all, that it was true. He turned, went out of the bathroom, and up the remaining stairs to his attic room. Not for long, he was thinking. I won't bring them back for long. Not long enough to cause problems, just long enough to have a good talk to find out how they are. Maybe Bright Stars had a baby by now. A papoose! What fun if she brought it with her. Though it would be almost too tiny to see. Little Bear had made himself a chief while he was with Omri. But when he returned to his own place, his father might still be alive. Little Bear wouldn't like being an ordinary brave again. And Boone, the crying cowboy, with a talent for art, a deep dislike of washing, and a heavy thirst, it made Omri grin to think of him. Writing about the little men and their adventures had made them so clear in his mind that it hardly seemed necessary to do what he was going to do. And that, boys and girls, ends chapter 4. I don't know about you. I really, really want to go into the next chapter, but I know I have to pause and wait till tomorrow so we can make this book last. I am like utterly excited and my emotions are on overload. Here I am as a mom. I'm trying not to cry because his mom is so proud of him and his brothers are so proud of him. And then we get to this exciting part that he might be bringing back Little Bear, Bright Stars, and Boone. I do see some problems though, because Bright Stars, as plastic, will not have the baby with her. So unless there's some tricky way that it's so tiny that she can hide it, that baby may not come back. That's one problem I thought of. Another problem is I think Patrick has Boone, and Patrick doesn't believe Omri, so I don't know how he's going to bring Patrick back. I don't know about you. I'm totally excited, and I cannot wait until chapter 5 of Lynn Reed Banks's The Return of the Indian. I'm so excited, and I cannot wait till tomorrow, boys and girls. But if you're watching this before bedtime, good night and sleep tight.